David Solove, in his lecture at the Google, talks a lot about very similar things to what Meyer Schoenberger talked about in terms of the importance of privacy and the information that is stored online. He came at it from more of a legal aspect, and he talked about three different aspects of privacy that the law doesn't really that the law fails to connect to. And these three he lays it out as privacy as viewed as either a public or a private. Private information is either viewed as private or public. There's just no in between there. It's a by binary system. The other thing is that confidentiality and the duty of confidentiality is not recognized in the United States generally and widely. It's recognized in terms of lawyers and doctors, but that's it. And he thinks that we should move towards a system where like in Europe, where anybody can be held accountable to be confidential, if that is kind of implied or assumed. And the third thing is the control over information, and he goes into a talk about copyright versus privacy, and this is really interesting. He has a very interesting idea about making privacy kind of more like copyright, but I think that there's a central inherent difference between them. When you're talking about copyright, you're talking about copyright control as a means of controlling who can benefit from information, whereas privacy is a means of controlling who can see information. And I don't think that we can litigate privacy in the same way that we can litigate copyright, unless there's a way to do it such that that information is not known. Like if somebody is concerned about something that's private, they can't litigate it without calling attention to it. And I think that's part of the system is kind of corrupted, and not necessarily corrupt, but just not able to function and deal with this kind of privacy issues. It was also interesting the whole liability thing that he brought up, in terms of the fact that just recently the Google execs were prosecuted and convicted of for hosting videos of illegal activities in Italy. They were convicted, and I think this was kind of a weird situation, and like I don't think that Google should be held accountable for information that they've hosted, seeing as once they were asked to take it down, they immediately took it down. I don't think this is an issue where people hosting it shouldn't be held liable for the information that's hosted, especially they shouldn't be held accountable to browse all that information. I'm certainly, if they had been contacted and requested information to be removed earlier than that, I think that's definitely they should remove it, and they did remove it. So I don't really know how this is going to be received. The whole the Italy ruling.